Hello and welcome to my first stream using YouTube. So I am going to edit some photos using Lightroom Classic to give you an idea of how you can use the software to improve your photography. Please do say hello in the chat, ask any questions that you have, and I can demo things for you as well. This is a bit of a test for me because I haven't used streaming service on YouTube before. So it'll be cool to see how it goes. Hoping that I can manage from my phone as well, but we'll see if that comes out for me. But let's just go with it for now. We do have a chat on my screen as well, so if you want to chat, you can do there. So we have this photo, obviously it's a photo of me, and these are some new headshots that I can use for my marketing, taken at the beach using a fill-in flash to counteract the shadows on my face. So this is one of the most commonly asked questions I get from beginners, is how can I make my photo better when they've been taken out in the daytime with harsh sunlight and shadows are then cast on the face. So the way that you do this is you use flash. Now a lot of people consider flash to be only used when it's dark to light up a scene as a main light, but actually you can use it to balance when you have a strong light source or if your subject is backlit. So highly recommend having a flash to use. So this particular shot I've been working on today, and I'll show you the before and the after. So this is your before and after button. Because I've opened it into Photoshop, it's not actually showing you the true before and after, but what we'll do is we shall go to this one. So we had this one here, the foot was cut off a little bit, so we opened it into Photoshop to give us this one. And did you notice the other things that were changed? So taking out the dog, taking out the people, and there are lots of sticks and things and seaweed that have also been taken out. So that's the kind of thing that we will be going through and editing today, is those distractions in the background. So this isn't a full Lightroom course or anything like that. This is just a continuation of me editing. You can pop in, you can say hello, you can get an idea of how to use the software. And if you have any questions, do ask, okay? Right, sorry, clicking a few buttons there in my streaming thing to make sure that I can see if anybody comes in and says hello. So this one's pretty much done. It's not the sharpest of images, but I like how natural it is and how we've got that little bit of movement in there as well. So I'm still going to use it, even though it's not perfect. I kind of like it. I like the colours. I like the light. I like how natural it is as well. So we also have this one. This one's sharper. Shows some movement in there as well. Still got some distractions. This is my dog, bless her. She loves the beach. She was going proper zoomies. And then we've got people in the background too. So if we want to take these people out, so one of the ways that we can do it is using this remove tool. So when we click here, we have use generative AI, we have detect objects, and we could tick these. So this would generally give us a better result, but it can take ages to load the results with that because it's using the cloud, it's using AI. It can take a while, and because I'm streaming as well, that might also slow it down. So let's just see what we can get by using it without having those ticked. It's done an okay job, but the see it isn't really lining up, and it's also claimed a bit of my hair here. So let's refresh and see what it does. If we refresh it, not much better. Let's try again. Not much better. It's got a nose. Not much better again. Okay, so you can see how this is a bit hit and miss. So I'm not going to use that because obviously it looks rubbish. So we will try with generative AI instead. So with these two ticked, we're going to select our people. And this is going to prompt Lightroom to use the AI servers, I guess, with Adobe to figure out what is here and what needs to be taken out. And generally it does do a much better job. See how good that is? And you get variations too, so I can see how that changes, especially on my shoulder. It's a little bit strange on that first one, whereas this one is absolutely great. So we will go with that and press enter a couple of times to submit that. So we're going to move around to a different part of the picture. We'll try this one. Then we're going to take out doggo and that bit of seaweed there and that bit there. Now because this masks, it doesn't matter if you let go and then have to re-click on an area. It will add to the mask, and then when you're ready you can hit remove and it should remove any distractions that you have clicked on. Now I am asking my computer to do quite a lot, having Lightroom Classic open and OBS and streaming. So it might be a little bit slow, and then especially when we come to the AI edit as well. Having a bit of a minute. Let go of that. Thank you. So yeah, if it's a bit slow, it's just because we're asking it to do a lot. And it is a fairly decent computer, but the problem with AI is it's super resource intensive. So even though this is a decent machine, it's going to be a bit slow. But unless I want to pay 2,000 or 3,000 to upgrade, this is what we're sticking with for now. So whilst this is loading, we can go and make a cup of tea, or we could go for a run, or any of those. And yeah, it's going to take a while to do, but usually the results are worth the wait. So you just have to be a little bit patient with this. Now, obviously, if you were doing this full time and you wanted to be really efficient with your time, you would make sure that you had a really good internet connection. You'd make sure that your equipment was really good so that this ran as quickly as possible. And then that way you don't waste any time. It makes you more efficient in your business, which is really what I should do. I should be more efficient and upgrade my kit, but we'll get there. Right, okay, so it's done a pretty good job. We can move across, we can see if it's overlapped anywhere. We can see that it's, yeah, it's taken the dog out just fine. Pretty good, isn't it? So press enter a couple of times, make sure there's no kind of weird soft edges, which there aren't. It's done a pretty good job. Happy days. Now we've got these two in the background here, so we should probably take them out as well. Bear in mind that it's also getting to my hair, so I'm going to go to the edge of the hair there and then give it a bit of a chance to figure out what it wants to do with that part of my hair. Don't really want it to take out that top bit, so I'm just going to make this mask a bit smaller and then ask it to remove, and we'll see what it does. Okay, that's not too bad. Just having a look at my okay, right, just having a look at my stream option. It's giving me a warning sign, which we're not too fussed about, to be fair, because this is just a test, but it wants me to use a higher bit rate. It's fine, we'll come back to that. I'm not going to worry about that just now because this is a test. But yeah, any questions you have if you're watching, let me know. Did see that we had a viewer just then, which is cool. My first ever viewer on YouTube. Okay, right, I'm pressing enter, but we need to select the right window. There we go. Enter, enter. It's done a pretty good job on the hair here. It's taken the people out nicely as well. And then when we zoom out, cool, it's done the job quite well. So we could come in and take these bits out. Now, I am a bit of a sucker when it comes to attention to detail. I don't like things to be too distracting. that being said, there is quite a lot going on here in the sand because, you know, it's the beach and that's just what happens. But anything that tends to be really eye-catching, so really different in texture or tone, I tend to take out. So we'll just do some of these most obvious bits. And your eye likes contrast, so any areas that where there's like a dark shadowy bit like here, or a brighter bit on its own, your eye will go to. So it's just it's good just to keep an eye on those, and if you need to, squint at your photo and see what's drawing your eye even when you're squinting, because then you can't see the fine detail, but you will see the shades, the colours and the brightness values that are drawing your eye. Here we go, try and remove those. So we're using Lightroom Classic and the Remove tool with the Generative AI option and the Detect Objects option ticked. And this is going to help AI figure out what we need in place of these distractions, and it's generally pretty good, so it's going to replace it for sand. But it is a little time consuming because AI is pretty intensive. Literally could make a cup of tea in this time. Let's have some squash here. So you know when you get to the bottom and it's really like bitty. That's where I'm at. I need some more squash. Let me know if you use Lightroom Classic and what you use it for if you are watching. Have you tried using the AI Remove tool yet? There we go, right. Hit enter a couple of times to get rid of the overlay so we can see how good a job it's done, and also see if there's anywhere that we need to re-go over. It looks alright, doesn't it? Not too bad. There's a bit of one there, but I'm not too worried about a little bit. Yeah, I mean, we'd be there all day if we took everything out. And it's the problem with having a really high resolution camera. It does see so much detail. But it's obviously, it's a good thing as well because you do get detail when you want it. So it is up to you how detailed you want to go with taking out distractions. Because this was shot with a fairly wide aperture, so 7.1, we do get quite a little blur in the background from about here back anyway. So the most obvious things are going to be directly below my feet. Which I'm happy with. I think this is fine. So in terms of framing, I could crop this in, so I can crop using the crop module here. And generally speaking, with a shot like this, I would crop in and leave a bit more space for the subject to look into. But because I'm going to use these photos for social media, I'm going to actually leave more space than I think I'll need around the photo, because that will allow me to add any text or any other design elements that I want to use to the picture later on. I don't want to kind of block it out by or make it harder for myself by cropping in too much. Just spotted this little dark bit here as well, so if we take this out, I'd probably be able to take this out without using generative AI actually. Let's see how well it does. That's what it's pretty good at, is like spot healing, real simple stuff without everything ticked. So usually I try it without these, and then if it really doesn't work, then I'll tick these. Saves you a bit of time as well doing it that way. Cool, it's fairly easy. Let's have a look at the light on my face. So we do have some light coming in on this side, the left side. The light was coming down from here. As you can see, there's a brighter patch on my hair here, and the light on my nose is brighter here. So we could have a go at just lifting some shadow on my face. So I've pressed Shift and M for mother, which gives us a radial gradient. And then with that gradient, we can position it over my face and bring the shadow sliders up just a little bit. Don't want to go mad. And that's just going to lighten my face somewhat to balance the light between the shadows and highlights. So you can also bring the highlights down as well if you wanted to bring the balance down, but we don't want my face to look too dark. And you also don't want it to look like, you know, when people put foundation on and their face is a completely different shade to their neck or everything else. So we do have to be aware of that as well. Okay, but that looks about right. Enter a couple of times as well and it will go. Make sure there's no halo around because you do get that sometimes. And then lots of zooming in and zooming out. And then we're going to add another one here. So Shift and M, and we're going to click and drag. And we're going to do quite a narrow circle here for this one because we are not wanting to go too far off of the hair. Now notice how it goes a bit grey, which we don't want. So we're not going to go down too much. We're just going to do enough. And if you need to, if it's making a bigger section grey, that's usually because
charge complete.
That section is not as bright, so you can make this smaller so you cover less of that section that's going grey. If there's no detail in there as well, that is another way that it can just look grey instead of the actual colour you need, but that overall is a bit better. Okay, fab. So when I finished editing a shot, I will give it a green colour label to show that I'm happy with that and that I can export it, ready for use in print or web later on. But for now I'm not going to export because I'm still going through all of the photos. I'm still choosing the ones I want to use. The flagged status has come off, probably because I've opened it into Photoshop earlier. Sometimes if you use like the AI thing, or if you use a denoise tool, again an AI based option, it will undo your flag status. So we need to keep an eye on that and make sure we're not accidentally editing any photos that aren't flagged. That's kind of the point of the flagging, so you're only looking at the shots that you actually want to use. But yeah, sometimes it does get deselected, so you have to keep an eye out for it. Right, so this is more, I don't know if I would use this shot for business or whether I just use it for like a personal one. So what I've been doing just today, it's a regular thing, I'll give 2 stars to the ones that I think I'd use for business, and then 1 star for the memory one. So like this one was being silly, and that's the dog like did that like lick thing as I was doing a kiss face, but it looks here like she was licking me, but she absolutely wasn't. I'm not keen on dogs licking faces. But with a silly face, I thought it was quite a fun photo, so we're definitely going to keep that one as a memory shot, hence why it's just got the 1 star. So you can use the star ratings, you can use the colour labels to help you sort your images to show what it's used for. So when you first do this, you might want to have a little post-it note to say that green means good to go, that you're ready to export that, to say 1 star means this, 2 star means that, another colour label means something else. It might be that you're working with a team and you give people different colour labels and they choose the ones that they like the most. It's up to you, but whatever system you decide to use, write it down at the beginning so you don't forget what those things mean. Yeah, and I think that'd be a good way to go. So so for this one, I don't think we use flash on this shot, and you can see there's some shadow in here as well. So what we're going to do is we are going to shift an M again, M for mother, and we're going to do another radial gradient just on my face. And we can rotate this a little bit, so see how my face is kind of angled this way. The right hand side, our right hand side, is lit more. So we don't need to worry about the exposure so much here. It's more in the middle of my face. So here we'll come in and we'll up the shadows. Okay, and if I go extreme, you can see what it's doing. Or down, yeah. So we're going to up the shadows, and then we can also try bringing the highlights down, just to see how it balances. And I think actually probably looks a bit better with the shadows not being up too much. Maybe here, yeah. And then OK. So double tap enter to OK that. So if we look at the before and after, now you can see those shadows are lifted. It just looks a little bit better. Okay. Then we can get rid of this guy's arm because he's quite distracting, isn't he? His arm coming out of my head. So to do that, let's go to 100% on the zoom by clicking here. And then we want to select remove, use generative AI, detect objects. So we're going to give it the best chance of doing this. And we're going to select a few different areas, just because why not? Okay, I'm not necessarily going to take all of these guys out. I mean, that red canoe is a bit distracting, but I don't know how well it will do at taking this bit out. Let's see. Okay, and then we're going to remove. And then we're going to give it half an hour to do the remove stage. And when it's done, hopefully we'll have a nice, clear background. Okay. Done that pretty good in the cars. Happy with that. Let's go over. Okay, those people are out. Oh, got some rogue feet left over. Just done the horizon pretty good. Okay, cool. So with the rogue feet, we could probably use this without them ticked. Yes, we can. Lovely jubbly. Cool. Instantly better, right? I'm gonna sneeze. Maybe I'm not gonna sneeze. Okay. Whatever. Cool. Yeah, so not so many distractions over here now, which is handy. And then if we wanted to take the seaweed out, we go 50% so we can fit it on. And then Q for remove tool. Don't know why it's Q, but it is. And then we're just going to cover all of this. And then remove. Oh, it's done it for us. Look, I've not done the best job though because I didn't have this selected. Okay, so let's delete that, try that again, but with that selected, which it is now. Don't really want it to take in that much, do we? A bit extreme. There we go. Right, a remove. Let's see what it can do. Right, it's done a pretty good job. Happy with that. Zoom into my top because I think it's done a weird patchy bit. Maybe here. I'm not sure if it has or not, if it's just me. Yeah, that's all good. All good. Okay, cool. So another demo on how to use Lightroom to edit out some distractions using this remove tool. It's fairly straightforward once you get used to it. Sometimes it's easier to remove distractions in Photoshop. Sometimes you get some weird fuzzy edges. Sometimes you're better off using these two ticked, but just go with it. Give it the opportunity to do it in the quickest way, and if it's being a bit janky, then you can always go and tick on the detect and use generative AI. Take out the stone, shall we? This is the last thing, and then I will sign off and wish you a good day. We can refresh if we don't like what it does. Yeah, that's all right. Cool. Okay, thanks for joining me, and hopefully we'll see you next time I come on live. This was my first test today to see how I could get on with live streaming on YouTube. So it'd be good if you say hello, like, follow if you aren't already, ask any questions, or if there's anything you want me to cover in a future video, you can pop that in the comments and I will read every comment that people post. And also if you have any photos that you need editing or you want advice on how to edit a particular style, give me a shout and I can talk through those as well. But thanks for watching.